Hey there, and welcome to your deep dive on the Polaris studio for critical thought.
Yeah.
So, have you ever gotten that feeling like the world's changing so fast and you're just trying to keep up?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how I've been feeling about the future of education,
Yeah.
which is why this whole Polaris thing really grabbed my attention. It's
Yeah.
like they looked into a crystal ball or something
Yeah.
and saw what grad school needs to be like in the next decade. Yeah.
It is fascinating
Yeah.
how much they emphasize the how to think
Okay.
rather than just what to think. We live in a world that's just drowning in information.
That's true.
Being able to navigate all of that
Right.
and analyze it and then use it effectively. I
Mhm.
mean, that's a real superpower
Totally.
in today's world.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, forget about cramming all these facts into your brain.
Yeah.
Because, tomorrow they might not even be true anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the mental tools
Exactly.
to adapt no matter how much the world changes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you see it right away when you look at their core curriculum.
Okay.
You take strategic thinking.
Okay.
You hear that you think MBA program or something,
Right.
but they bring it down to earth.
Yeah.
They connect it to your everyday life.
Okay.
Imagine you want to make a big career change or finally launch that side hustle you've been thinking about,
Yeah.
and you actually feel prepared to do it.
That's what I love about this.
Yeah.
It's not just some theory.
Yeah.
It's they're giving you actual tools to make decisions and solve problems
Frameworks, yeah.
and navigate a world that feels like it's getting more and more complex every day.
Absolutely.
And speaking of problem solving,
Yeah.
what about design thinking?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's talking about it these days.
Yeah, it's a big buzzword.
Yeah.
But Polaris has a really interesting take on it.
What is it?
So imagine using design thinking to create an online learning platform
You okay?
that's actually accessible to everyone.
Right.
That's one example they give of how students might use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about empathy,
Okay.
experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
iteration
Yeah.
to solve these real-world problems in any field.
That's actually a really cool example.
Yeah.
It makes it so much more than just oh yeah, design thinking's important. But with all this talk about incredible tech, the ethics conversation becomes a really big deal.
Huge. Yeah.
So what's Polaris' stance on that?
It's really baked into their entire approach.
Okay.
Think about that AI chatbot
Yeah.
that went a little crazy a few months ago.
Everyone remembers that. Yeah.
Polaris wants to give people the skills and the ethical frameworks
Okay.
to navigate those really tricky situations, to ask not just can we do this?
Right.
But should we?
That's a good point. Yeah. It's really about responsible innovation,
Yes.
which feels more important than ever with AI on the rise.
Right.
Now, I have to admit, sometimes I still picture robots taking over the world,
Sure.
like in that movie.
Yeah. It's easy to go there
It is easy to go there.
with all the headlines and everything.
Exactly.
But Polaris's approach to AI and human collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually really refreshing.
Okay.
They're definitely not shying away from AI,
Mm-hmm.
but they're emphasizing how we can work with it,
Okay.
not against it.
So it's less about humans versus machines
Exactly.
and more about how can we use these tools
Yeah.
to solve bigger and bolder problems together.
Precisely. If you're really into medicine,
Okay.
you could be using AI to analyze huge amounts of data
Right.
and potentially find breakthroughs in treating diseases.
So cool.
It's about using tech to make human ingenuity even better.
I like that.
Yeah,
So that's the core curriculum.
Yeah.
Intense but important for anyone living in the 21st century.
I think so.
But then Polaris also has these specialized tracks.
They do.
It's like choosing your own adventure
Right.
within this whole future of learning.
Exactly. And they're starting with fields that are already shaping the future.
Okay.
Physics, engineering, and technology.
Huge.
And they're going deep, too,
Okay.
not just scratching the surface.
Well, the physics track really stood out to me.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I mean, quantum computing.
Right.
That just sounds like Star Trek to me.
It's pretty out there.
But Polaris is all over it.
Yeah, it really is mind-blowing stuff.
It is.
Imagine a computer that could be in multiple states at the same time,
Okay.
processing information crazy fast.
And this isn't just theoretical?
No, not at all.
Right.
This could change everything.
Okay.
Drug discovery materials, science,
Wow.
even how we deal with climate change.
Okay, now my brain actually hurts.
I know, it's a lot.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
It makes you realize what we could accomplish
It really does.
if we just push the boundaries of what's possible.
That's what they're all about.
And speaking of pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
the engineering track seems equally focused on the future.
Absolutely. Think about things like renewable energy or self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Polaris wants its grads to be leading the way
Okay.
on the next generation of that tech,
I like it.
making it even better, more sustainable.
More integrated into our lives.
Exactly.
So it's almost like they're preparing students,
Mhm.
not just for the jobs of tomorrow,
Right.
but for the jobs that don't even exist yet.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And we can't talk about the future of education
We can't.
without talking about technology.
It's right there in the name. So the technology track at Polaris,
Okay.
it really dives into the transformative stuff.
Like
AI, obviously.
Of course.
But also things like blockchain.
Okay, confession time.
Yeah.
Blockchain is one of those things where I just smile and nod,
Sure.
but inside I'm like, does anyone actually get this?
You're not alone.
Am I not?
A lot of people feel that way.
Okay, good to know.
But it's really not as complicated as it seems.
Okay.
Imagine like a digital ledger
Okay.
that's not controlled by any one person or institution,
Mm-hmm.
but spread out across a network of computers.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean for my everyday life?
Well, let's say you need to prove your education credentials.
Okay.
With blockchain, you would have a secure record
Mm-hmm.
that couldn't be faked.
That makes sense.
And employers would know your skills are legit.
Yeah.
Or think about tracking where products come from.
Okay.
Blockchain can make sure supply chains are transparent and accountable.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potential.
Blockchain has so many uses.
It really does.
It's amazing how Polaris takes these complicated ideas
Mhm.
and makes them relevant to everyday life.
They're good at that.
And these tracks are just the start.
Yeah, that's the exciting part.
Really?
Polaris is always evolving,
Wow.
adding new things all the time.
Like, what else is in the works?
Well, the document mentioned data science,
Okay.
business, and even social innovation.
Oh, wow.
But the one that really got me was music.
Wait a minute. Music
Yeah.
like Polaris for rock stars?
Not exactly rock stars. They described it as an affordable, Juilliard-level experience.
Really?
Yeah, they're keeping it quiet for now,
Okay.
but it sounds like they're going to change music education.
Wow.
Same way they're changing these other fields.
Oh, that is really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that Polaris is interested in so many different things.
Yeah.
It really shows that they believe in learning across disciplines.
Definitely.
But let's talk about the actual learning environment for a sec.
Okay.
What would it be like to be a student at Polaris?
Well, forget about those old boring lecture halls.
Oh, okay.
Polaris wants to create flexible and inspiring spaces
Okay.
that encourage collaboration and creativity.
I like it.
Think open workspaces with lots of light, cozy spots for study.
And even places to relax and reflect.
Exactly. They're designing an environment. Yeah.
That cares about the whole person,
I like that.
not just academics.
And they're not afraid to use technology
Not at all.
to make learning even better.
Right. Imagine AI-powered platforms that adapt to how you learn,
Oh, wow.
giving you personalized feedback and support.
Or being able to just step into a virtual reality lab
Now you're talking.
and be right there in the middle of a complex engineering problem.
That's the future.
Or even a historical event.
That's what they're building.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
In a way, it is.
But with all this focus on tech,
Yeah.
what about the human element?
Right.
How do they build community?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's clear that Polaris really values well-being and belonging.
Okay.
They've included spaces for mindfulness and reflection all over campus.
Really? Things like meditation rooms,
Cool.
gardens,
Nice.
even quiet spaces for contemplation.
That's so different
It is.
from the whole burnout culture
Yeah.
we see in a lot of academic settings.
It's a different world.
It sounds like they're really trying
Uh-huh.
to create a supportive environment where
Yes.
students can thrive,
That's the goal.
both academically and personally.
Absolutely.
But what about the teaching methods?
Yeah,
It sounds like they're throwing out the old lecture hall playbook.
they are.
Okay, tell me more.
At Polaris, the learner is in control.
Interesting.
They're using a more personalized and self-directed approach to learning.
So no more frantically taking notes while someone's reading from a textbook from like 10 years ago.
Sign me up. Think more like interactive modules, algorithms that adjust to how you're learning best,
Oh, cool.
and personalized feedback.
Wow.
It's all about giving you the power to learn the way that works for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's such a better system than just assuming everyone learns the same way.
it is.
Like those old lectures?
Right.
What about the professors, though?
Yeah,
What's
okay.
their role in all of this?
So instead of being the expert up front,
Okay.
they're more like mentors or guides,
I see.
offering support, challenging your ideas,
Mm.
and helping you connect the dots.
I wish I had that in grad school.
Yeah,
It's so helpful to have someone to talk to,
it is.
especially with those really tough subjects.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about the academics, is it?
No, not at all.
Polaris seems really flexible.
And they get it.
Like, people have lives outside of school.
Exactly.
Jobs, families, all of that.
They designed it to fit your life.
Not the other way around.
Right.
That's got to be appealing to people who thought grad school was impossible.
I think so.
It makes it attainable.
Yeah, it removes the barriers.
So anyone with the drive and the curiosity can keep learning.
That's the idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
But what about the students?
Sure.
What's it actually like to go to Polaris?
So imagine this from day one. You're not just given a syllabus
Okay.
and told to figure it out.
Yeah.
Polaris students are encouraged to take charge of what they're learning.
I like that a lot.
No passive note-taking.
I was going to say.
Right?
No more of that.
Think student-led seminars,
Cool.
research projects that they're passionate about, even working with faculty on groundbreaking stuff.
Wow. So they're really empowered
Exactly.
to control their own education.
That's huge for really learning.
Yeah, it is.
And it's all about collaboration, not competition.
That's so different from what we hear about grad school.
I know.
It's always so cutthroat.
Yeah, Polaris is different.
So less survival of the fittest,
Yeah,
more like we're all in this together,
exactly.
which I really appreciate.
And in the end, you have graduates who are ready to be leaders,
Okay.
innovators,
Oh,
lifelong learners.
Not just ready for a job,
Right.
but to go out and change the world?
They're prepared to make a real impact.
That's a bold statement.
It is. But they have the proof.
What do you mean?
Well, they talk about the results of a Polaris education.
Okay.
Things like getting published in top journals, internships at really innovative companies.
And an alumni network full of leaders in their fields.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're not just stuck in the classroom.
No.
They're getting real-world experience.
That's valuable.
Yeah.
And here's the coolest part.
What's that?
Polaris says this isn't just a 2-year thing.
Okay.
It's about creating a mindset of always learning and growing.
I love that.
Graduation isn't the finish line.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning of the next chapter.
So how do they stay connected?
They have all sorts of ways.
Like what?
Mentoring programs, networking events, even coming back to teach.
Wow, so they never really leave.
It's a community.
That's awesome.
It is.
I gotta say, this whole Polaris studio idea is really inspiring.
It's a fresh perspective.
It feels like education needs this.
It does.
It's a new way of thinking about it.
It really is.
So for everyone listening, think about what this means for you.
Yeah,
We've gone deep into Polaris,
we have.
but now it's up to you to apply this future-proof mindset to your own life.
It's powerful stuff.
Whether you're thinking about grad school or changing careers or just trying to keep up with everything that's changing, remember the most important skill is knowing how to think critically, adapt to change, and never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the Polaris studio.